Size though, because this would definitely give me a yeast infection.
I hate going to the gym and I can't stand being set up.
It feels like I just had a one-night stand and I'm like, where's his bed sheet? Oh God.
I wanted to pick two people who I love and admire and are hysterical and also podcast queens and people that I personally have had a lot of big yikes moments with.
Like, I'm gonna bring on my biggest hot mess friends. The girls who are crazy.
Oh. They are podcast queens. And we've had a lot of fun together and we've been very vulnerable together. So it made so much sense to bring on the one and only Jaime and Emily from Two Girls, One Blunt. Hello.
Oh, thank you for having us, guys. Keep it down, all right?
Yeah, I know. Roar of applause. Come on,
Our
guys.
live studio audience of 3 people.
We're trying to stay humble here. How are you guys?
I'm doing good.
No, you're not. You're lying.
I'm not doing good. I'm fucking a DJ. You think I'm okay, bro? I'm actually suicidal, okay?
I learned that lesson the hard way in high school. I grew up in Miami, so fucking a DJ is like a rite of passage.
What's worse, fucking a DJ or fucking a male comedian?
Oh, God.
Oh.
What if they're
Not
both
that
at
I
the
would
same
know.
time?
Not that I would know, of course. Actually, Jaime and I are Eskimo Sisters. We're going to get right into it. Welcome to Big Yikes. Okay. We're Eskimo Sisters
We are.
for a couple people, actually.
Really?
Wait, more than one?
No, or
I think
one.
just one.
Are you sure?
Who's the other
Who
one?
have you fucked?
Why are we like... Tell me right now. Who am I
is
forgetting?
Are you?
This is like a part of the sisterhood of female comics. It's like there's always going to be some overlap.
Sisterhood of the Traveling Penis. He's on tour and he's
Sisterhood
on
of the
tour.
on-tour penis.
Truly, the sisterhood of the traveling mansplain after you get off stage and kill, and he looks at you and goes, solid.
Yeah. Nice.
Good set.
Nice. Good set.
And then they go up to the headliner who's like a male or something, and they're like, you did you're so good.
All the time. That annoys me so much. I wish women were more celebratory towards each other and more enthusiastic. I feel like you guys are really good at it. I do my best to be good at it. But men
Sucking
men do the bare minimum, and they're like, bro, fucking
yeah.
crushed it, nailed it, killed it. You had them, and I don't know. Women got to level up. We got to start being like that with each other too.
No, women get so competitive,
Yes.
especially in comedy. I've noticed it. They give you the stink eye. They give you the side eye. They don't want to congratulate you on anything. And we're supposed to be fucking banding together. We already have the men against us. We need the women with us, so we're not all fucking screwed.
Yeah, we need a united front. And if you have really good male friends, especially male comedian friends as well too with our profession, they will let you know they make fun of us for how catty we are with each other. We look like a hot mess to them. So it's kind of refreshing, and I think.
But the reality is, they all hate each other, and they're fake as shit towards each other to grow and using each other. Where we're just I don't like you, so I'm not going to work with you, and I don't need you. So who's the real winner? You know what I mean? Who's the bad person in that situation?
We are.
Because I've hang out with groups of male comics, and then you get them one-on-one, and they're talking shit about everyone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I thought you guys were best friends.
Oh,
Nope.
yeah. Yeah, that is true. Men are actually just equally as catty as women are.
Men talk the most shit in the fucking world, and then they turn around, they're like, oh, women never stop talking shit. I'm like, were you just talking about your best friend?
Oh, yeah. And they'll throw each other right under the bus.
Yeah.
I can think of, listen, we're an open and vulnerable
Should we start
podcast.
a list?
Yeah. Should we change the name of this podcast to Name Drop? No.
Oh, that's actually a great name.
That would be maybe we'll have a segment for that. But I can think of two successful comedians, one much more than another, who's kind of popping off right now. And on a united front, they're homies, but every time you're around them, there's this awkward tension because they're frenemies.
It's because they want to fuck.
Maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. They might want to fuck. And then publicly they'll pretend to really bro out with each other, but in private, the one comedian, the less successful one, was the shit I have on him, you don't even know. If I ever decided to, I could cancel him. I could. And I'm like, that's your bro.
You're not even supposed to be threatening that.
Yeah, I was like, that's terrible that you even have that thought. You have this in
the back of your head.
Girls
you're just
don't
how can I
operate
fuck
like
you
that.
over one day?
I don't think girls operate like that.
I agree. I think at our core, we don't want to operate like that, and I don't think we do.
It's only when
No.
somebody hurts you and then fucks you over, and now you're like, okay, well then fuck this bitch. But even then, I still feel there's a level of I'm not gonna tell your secrets.
Yep.
I might tell somebody a secret that is how you treated me, or how you treat other people to warn them.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to just be like dumping out all that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's not, to me, that's not shit talking. That's like, if somebody asks me my experience with somebody or something, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to like try to, and I also think I do an okay job at like delivering it as objectively as possible.
Yeah.
Like I'll be like, hey, I fucked up here. I shouldn't have done that or whatever. If they are embarrassed by the fact that somebody knows that now, maybe don't
do that.
Well, so like I had a
I don't know.
female comedian at this comedy festival. I like sat down in front of all the female comedians and I was like, "Hey guys, I'm Jaime," and one looked at me and went, "Hi," and then just kept in her conversation.
Yeah.
And then not only 4 days later, a booker for big comedy clubs was like, "Oh, what do you think of this person?" And I was just like, I even tried to be nice. I tried to play it off. I was like, maybe she was having anxiety.
Yeah.
But I'm like, this girl seems like a bitch. Yeah. You know? And I'm like, I said hi and I tried to introduce myself and she gave me a dirty look.
Yeah. It is what it is. And it's kind of like, I mean, that's your experience. And I feel like no two people have the same experience with somebody. I mean, sometimes they do, but I mean, it's all projection. And to your point, what you were saying is, you know, there's like this expectation as women that we need to immediately have every woman's back 1,000% and be best friends. And the second that we're not, we're jealous, hating, so on and so forth. So it's okay to set those boundaries and uphold your friendships to a different level. That's what I think.
Yeah. No, I'm a girl's girl. Like, I will protect women, but also if I don't like you, I'm not going to be best friends with you.
Yeah.
If I see you slumped over drunk, I'll take care of you.
Yeah.
Even
but I'm
if I
not going to
hate
say
you.
I love you, bro.
Right. I might not like give you that access to me. I wish it was different. Yeah.
We're back in high school, man. Comedy's just high school all over again. Middle school, honestly.
Yeah. I thought it would be, I don't know what I expected, but I didn't think anything could get more catty than like corporate America. And then I was like, oh wait, there's no HR.
There's no HR.
No.
You can tell this shit too.
You can say whatever you want. Like you can, you have
God.
there's people with mics saying their opinions. Like it's a scary place out here.
Yeah.
Bro, there's people out there stealing kids' ashes and then going on comedy shows and being like, haha, I'm an addict.
And there's people still booking those people.
Yes.
This is now just a venting about Miami comedy podcast. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, it is kind of insane, that level of behavior. And it's like, I don't know. Did you have a real job before like content and comedy?
Yeah.
What'd you do? I didn't know.
I managed martial arts schools, and then I also was a paralegal and office manager at a law firm.
Emily is full of so many surprises.
I know.
like case in point, she spread her legs before the podcast started, and there's a huge hole in her crotch. She's full of surprise.
I could fist myself through this hole.
Is that your glory hole? Is that
If you see me down here moving, just mind your business.
That reminds me of when we did Laugh Boston together in October. That woman who was in the crowd and was just yelling taint throughout my entire set. I hope she's okay and not in a ditch wherever she is. But the whole set, she was just going, ha ha, taint, and like.
I feel like that's me after 2 tequilas.
You're like, anybody want their taint sucked? Here we are.
I love taint.
I love taint. And I had no choice but to like bring this into my act and make a game about it. And she was very drunk, very friendly, and came up to us afterwards on the step and repeat. And I was like, taint girl. And she was like, taint! Grabbed me and proceeded to point where my taint was, like took her whole hand and like gave me an exam. I think everything's okay. I don't know.
She's a doctor.
And like Laugh Boston staff, shout out, amazing club, amazing. They were like, are you okay? And I was like, I don't know, honestly.
Was I just sexually assaulted?
Yeah.
I don't think comedy fans understand boundaries at all because they're so excited to
Oh my
see you.
God.
And the whole point of getting on stage is dismantling the boundaries. It's pushing boundaries.
Right.
And so when they see us, they're like, you push boundaries, so it's okay for me to push boundaries with you. And it's like, I'm still a human being.
Yes.
Like every time Brad Williams has to get on stage or like as he finishes up, he has to make an announcement. Please do not pick me up. And he has to make that to save himself from people picking him up.
I feel
That's
like
horrific.
do
Yes.
people try to pick you up too?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
But that shit's been happening since I was in fucking high school. Like nobody
Yeah.
can
It started
normally
with my uncle. Like,
picking me up, putting me in his closet. No, showing me where my taint was. Shout out Uncle Tony. No, I'm kidding. That's awful. Yeah, they don't know. I'm starting to learn that and navigate that too, because you're right. Like it is a very vulnerable career, and you want them to feel like they know you. I always have hecklers, in the crowd.
You do get a lot of hecklers.
I do. And as long as they're
when
not...
you get opinions, they heckle because they're like, I don't like that opinion. This is a town hall.
It's a town hall meeting. I say that every single time.
I love that quote of yours.
I love it.
Thank you. Because I'm like, hear ye, hear ye. What did you think of that joke? How's everyone doing over here? But I like it to an extent. Like, a friend had told me, like, no two of your sets are ever the same. And he's like, it's kind of cool to watch that, like, the crowd wants to engage with you.
They do.
And I'm like, yeah, that is cool. And I get it. And I like peeling those layers back. I'm very raw and vulnerable, as are you guys on stage. But I think in the last year, since actually, like, building my own audience, I've had to learn, like, you never want to be a dick and take for granted the people who listen to and support your shit, because it could all go away tomorrow and you don't need to.
Yep.
And it's not... You're not owed anything, but you're also a human being. So
are you not owed like basic respect and dignity though? Like, people shouldn't be touching you and coming up and assuming shit. If you were just a random person on the street and somebody did that to you, like, that would be assault. Yeah. But it's different because you're talking into a microphone. That makes no sense.
Yeah. It's like kind of like the definition. Like, I've had people be like, well, aren't you like asking for it? Cause like you're a comedian and you want attention and I've had guys be like, you're so sexual on stage. So then they immediately assume that's going to translate in my DMs or in person.
Yep.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, you skipped the part of, like, do you not know that, like, movies and TV and
like, hey, actually,
I want to go steady with someone.
Yeah.
You know me by my stage name, which is the same thing, but still, you don't know that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's, I don't know, it's like interesting. It's like setting that whole boundary too, because it's like, I so easily get drained between working all the time on air, on stage, and you're always giving and sharing and giving and taking a photo and responding and whatever. And then at some point you're like, I'm empty. And I actually didn't like that interaction with that fan after that show, or I didn't really want to sign this or do that. And it's a messy process finding that, like, line, I guess.
We have a fan who's super nice. You know him. Very, like, he comes out to all of our shows, very appreciated. But I feel like sometimes, like, oversteps, and I have to repeat myself and set boundaries multiple times. And I'm like, I shouldn't have to keep doing that. Like, if I say I need 5 minutes, I need 5 minutes.
Or if I say, please don't do that, please don't do that. Yeah. Has he touched you weird? Has he touched you?
No,
like
very respectful in that sense.
Okay,
but
cool.
just like, if I'm setting up for a show, please don't be up my ass. Like, I'm trying to get ready and like get my mind straight. My dad just told me he wanted to kill himself. Like, can I have 5 minutes to myself, please?
Before I get on stage.
I have to get on stage.
Yeah.
Right
How many? Can we talk about, like, as a female comedian? I feel like male comedians don't experience this. I don't know, but every time we get on stage, something traumatic happens. Right before you in New York, I like see my best friend who I haven't seen in 8 years.
Right. Yeah.
And this whole thing, I'm crying, and they're like, and now Jaime, they're like, you're gonna do a documentary. I had just cried outside of the comedy club, and then they were like, Jaime, how do you feel about Miami comedy? And I'm like, comedy here is so good. I'm really happy to be here.
I swear I'm okay. I swear I'm fine.
And then I hear the host calling my name, so I have to run on stage, and I'm like, ah.
Yeah. It's I've had that a couple times. I've had like notoriously bad days before I had to get on stage. But
it's so hard. People don't realize like how much energy you have to like pull yourself together and be on for everyone and perform like a jester.
Yeah. And you are very vulnerable. Yes, on stage. That's the given. But you're very vulnerable right before because you're getting ready, and you're very vulnerable right after.
Especially if you don't do well.
Oh, and then you get off stage and someone has some dumbass fucking like,
commenting.
Hey, you good job. You were funny. You know that one joke? I had a male comedian just to show, because male insecurity is going to come up on this. We were discussing it heavily off camera, so it's going to happen here. I headlined a small festival in Durango, Colorado a couple years ago. It was great. Had a really good set, and I saw some of the male comedians in the wings watching my set, and I, just met them, and, must be humbling for them to have somebody from out of town and a woman come in and headline a festival in their hometown that they were barely on. I digress. I'm only saying this because I walk off stage, and he's like, hey, you're amazing. That was really great. And I was like, thanks. Follows me to my green room. Literally. And I'm like, I didn't know that he was even behind me until I like put my stuff down, because you're like so frazzled when you get off stage and you're like, whatever. Turn around. He stepped into my green room, which already, like, if this were a male headliner of any level of success, they'd clock you in the fucking face, or they'd be like, what are you doing in my green room? Like, that would be like a whole different, And I'm like, and he's like, oh yeah, like amazing set. God, that joke about the dog and the vibrator thing, like that, like really didn't work. I swear to God. Like, and I was just like, what line are you even? And he goes, remember, like, man, he had like word for word remembered another bit that I had. And he was like, yeah, that really fell flat. They didn't like that. And I had to kind of be like, I honestly didn't.
Shut the fuck up,
Shut the
dude.
fuck up, number one. And I was like, number two, I was like, I didn't even really notice, honestly. Like, I had a really great time. I thought they were great.
Like, are you getting stage time?
Literally. And I was like, and he goes, oh yeah, totally. I just wanted to. I was like, yeah, I need a minute in my green room. I just got off stage, and then fucking slammed the door in his face.
Good.
Yeah. Cause it's like, but like the lengths that you went to like, it's such a classic. I don't think dudes realize I literally don't think they realize how often they do it. Or it's like second nature, or people. I mean, women are guilty of doing it too. But that like, you killed, that one joke didn't land though. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
What's the point of bringing it up?
Why bring it up? Just
Unless
to make
you
me
have
feel
like
legit.
a really good tag. But even then, I'm like, yeah, that doesn't make sense for my joke or my style of humor. So.
Right. And like the balls you have at all to like tell a headliner.
Yeah.
When you're not a headliner.
No.
It's just, it's so rampant. And I don't think they realize how like shitty it makes them look. I don't think anybody, men, woman, whatever, like realize just like you're showing your hand when you talk to people like that.
It looks so stupid too. Like, I'm not going to take your advice. I'm not going to take advice from anybody who is not in a position I want to be in.
I say that all the time. Unless you have like a Netflix special, quadruple the followers I have, $1 million. Like, you need to have, otherwise, like, I also just think like giving advice when it's not solicited is very rude. Like, I'm always like, do you want advice right now, or do you want to vent? Like, that's what I try to do with my friends. And if they're like, I don't want advice right now, I just need to bitch, I'm like, have at it. I'll shut up.
Yeah.
You know? But if they're like, no, I want your opinion, then
Here it is.
Here it is.
on you.
Yeah, here it is. So yeah, male insecurity. Probably why all three of us are single.
It's so fun.
But
I think they act like they like you, and then out of nowhere, I'm like, oh, you're competing with me.
Yeah.
Or like they want to feel the male, like I can bring something to you and feel like a man, but when you're at a bigger level, then they have nothing to offer, and then they try to just like bring you down.
Right.
They like make little digs at you so that you're at their level, and it's like, I'm not even listening.
I actually can usually tell when I get off stage and I start getting those weird vibes from them. Like, that's how you know it went really well.
Yeah, because they get weird and they don't even want to congratulate you or talk to you after.
Yeah, and they don't even know how to make eye contact. Yeah.
They just turn into an autistic person.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, you did so good. What's going on?
Yeah. You're like, are you okay socially, or are you insecure?
Yeah, why are you looking at the floor while you say this to me?
Yeah, literally. I just had it on a show in Miami. I got off stage and like one comedian, again, we're not going to name drop, but like, who's incredibly funny. You love him. He was like, that's how it's fucking done. And I was like, yeah, okay. And then like another comedian who we love was like, you're so fucking funny. And then like people that I would have expected to have gotten it from, dudes I would have expected, were like,
isn't that
like,
crazy?
really?
Because it hurts them. They're in a race that you never even started. Like, you're just doing your own thing, and then they're like, oh, how can I insert myself into her story?
Yeah.
I had a male comedian this past weekend. We were at a bar at Side Splitters in Tampa, and he was going through his own like emotional thing.
Yeah.
And he literally was like, Jamie, no one in this bar gives a fuck about you. Like, if something were to happen to me or you, like, everyone's clout chasing and doing this. He like had a point, but I was also like, no, you're wrong. Because like, he's like, everyone will use you. And I'm like, no, because there are men in this industry that are for the women.
Yes.
That support you, that their egos don't get hurt.
Yeah.
Those are the good comics and the real men, because they don't, like, they can see what you have in them and it doesn't threaten their masculinity.
Yeah.
But I'm like, no, there are men who do care about me. I have great friends.
Yeah.
And those are the people who stay my friends. It's the ones who don't, that I don't associate with anymore.
Yeah. And I think it's like, no, that's so true. And I think it's really important too, like, to yes, be girls and vent, and that's why it's important for women to stick together, or at least not like publicly drag each other down. Like, if you don't like somebody, just kind of like keep it to yourself, or like, you know, you can obviously express your opinion. But I also think it's like just as important to celebrate like the men who are doing it correctly, because like I don't want men to feel, because I know a lot of my dude friends say like they feel defeated and they're afraid of getting canceled. Like, even if they're like, I've actually had, even like outside of comedy, guy friends say they're afraid to fully pursue women because they're like, I don't even know the rules anymore, or like, I've been like shot down when I thought I was respectfully going for something. And it's like, it's such a touchy cancel culture time, and I think everything's like shifting, that they're like, I'd rather play it safe and like not come off as a douchebag or a creep or whatever than like shoot my shot. And then some girl's like, what the fuck? And I'm like, that's also not good either too. Like,
it is hard for men now.
A little bit.
Yeah,
I
we're
don't
all
empathize
on guard.
with them too much, but yes.
I feel like a lot of women are on guard, you know?
Yeah, I know I am for sure.
I like am when they start acting weird. If you're nice, then I'm not on guard. Like there's certain guys I'm not on guard with at all.
Yeah.
And if you're not getting that open, like fun, feminine side of me, that means like you're not a safe space.
Yeah.
So like you're not providing they're not self-aware enough to see that they're not providing that space.
Yeah.
Like we can read the energy of like a pack of hungry hyenas like coming after us like we're a fucking squirrel in the middle of the savannah or something. I don't know, you know?
Yeah,
like,
literally.
Like I can smell it on you, like that you're not being authentic towards me.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's like I feel like the three of us have it, but like that's like my greatest trait. I feel like I'm like a pretty good breed of people. Like,
I think if you have been abused by anybody in your life, like you are forced to be on alert at all times, and you know what people are insecure. Like you are much easier to see people for who they are.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm a domestic violence survivor. Everybody here has had trauma.
Woo!
Yeah. What's poppin'?
Domestic violence with my mom count?
Yes, it all counts. Yes, we're all rescue dogs, and I love it. That's how I describe myself.
I'm a stray for sure.
A stray,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. I'm a rescue dog. I'm like, when I pee in front of you, that's how you know I like you.
I'm like one of those stray cats that their eyes are like crusted shut. And everyone's like, I'm just waiting for one good human to come and pick me up and save me.
Yeah.
And it's like, I know I seem a little like cold and standoffish,
like,
but in actuality, if you feed me and love me, I'll move right in.
I'm going to be the best cat you've ever adopted.
I'll love you fucking forever. Yeah.
Like I'm still on the streets, but once you get to know her, she's a good one, okay?
She's a house cat.
I literally just like, you guys know, like adopted a cat and you're cat people. And I'm such a dog person, so I'm so used to like dogs put out, dude.
They are sluts.
Yes.
Dogs
Yeah,
are
dogs are
whores and
slutty.
cats are like the prudes of the animal world.
Absolutely.
No, cats have boundaries and they know who they are. Okay.
Yes, and dogs are just like, like legs open, tongue out. Like they'll just give it to anybody.
So I'm a male comedian.
Yeah.
Correct.
We should stop calling female dogs bitches and just call them comedians.
There you
okay?
go. We're rebranding. That's it. But like I was so used to dogs and them just being like so openly affectionate, and I thought I wasn't a cat person. And then I adopted this. I'm obsessed with her, but I had to like re-navigate. I'm like, wait, I have to like really earn her trust, and like,
Yeah.
she has boundaries. But like now that I see her and like her guard come down, I'm like, this is way better than a dog.
Yes.
It's almost more beautiful
'Cause
because
you
then you
earn
get
it.
that
Yeah.
moment where she like loves you and like holds you. Like my cat is very standoffish. She was abused by my previous roommates and like their dogs and their cats. And last night I picked her up and laid her on my chest, and she stretched all the way out and was just purring. And I was
loves
like,
you.
oh, that's my baby.
And she never
Like,
does that.
I love that.
I love it too. Like the first time I remember when she like slept with me, I felt like I unlocked a level with her.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, she likes me. Like,
Oh,
she
yeah.
knows this place is safe. And then I like went through all of her old papers, and she like, cause I adopted her about like a year or so in, and she had kittens, had a severe infection on all of her glands on her belly, like almost died, literally. And like a bunch of these other medical conditions, but like survived, is lean and sassy now, and like amazing. And like I was talking to my coworker about this, and she's like, I'm so glad you found her, because like two warriors just found each other. I know.
that
And I
just
was
gave me
like-
chills.
I know. I was like, yeah, she's my cat. Like,
That's
obviously
beautiful.
And I'm like, now like the more I hang out with her, I'm like, yeah, that's my cat.
That's my girl.
That's my
like-
girl.
Yeah. You'll get it now, 'cause
bitch
you're
on the
like-
outside, but she loves me.
Yeah.
You understand? Every time we're at comedy, everyone's like, "Come hang," and I'm like, "I just want to get home to my cats."
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh my God. That's me now.
Yeah.
I'm so domesticated now with her. Like, I'm like, this place sucks. I want to go home and make out with her. She'll hate it. I'm like, it's so funny. I'm like, mommy loves you so much. And she's like, and I'm like, I think she's starting to learn. Like, I'm like, she's like, that's how Brittany shows affection.
You know that trope that's like, oh, she's probably out in the streets like getting dick, and it's like, no, I'm at home with my cats asleep. Okay,
Or I'm in the
Like,
streets trying to get a kitten to come over so I can adopt another one.
Literally, like I see strays now, and I'm like, just come in, just add to the collection. That's it. But yeah, it's like like I kind of like see myself in her, which sounds absolutely insane. And,
No,
like,
I do too.
Yeah, but like to your point about like reading energy so much, do you guys ever have when people are like, oh, you're so standoffish, or I thought you were a bitch at first, or like,
Yeah.
what? And you're like, hey man, when you have gone through abuse and severe trauma and like severe, like I'm not talking like not to discount anyone's experience, but like my boyfriend called me a bitch. I'm like, my boyfriend beat the shit out of me like for 3 years. Like I had like people I thought I could trust, a whole world around me collapse. So like you don't know what somebody's been through.
Yeah.
When you're like, oh, they're cold. You're like,
I think I do the opposite. Like people like say that I'm like very cheerful and happy, and I'm like, you just don't know the darkness inside.
There's
like,
layers to me.
I went to the opposite end of the spectrums where I'm like, oh, like okay, I can be a golden retriever, and then you meet me, and I'm like, I don't like anybody.
Yeah, I get you.
Like friendly at first, and then as you get to know,
I get angrier.
Like, no, totally. I mean, I was thinking about that. Like, I think there's layers to it too, because I'm like, I can be a very warm and friendly person, and I'm like, I'll take people in, and I could be really fun to be around. And then like once I think there's a bond there, then it gets like a little bit of a thicker layer, because now there's like stakes, and you could fuck me over, or I could lose you. So now I kind of like I don't know.
Yeah, or like I'm like Emily's seen me yell a bunch.
Yeah,
like when I'm really upset in the house, and I'm like, you see this because we live together, and we're this close, but like that emotions, I usually try to hide that from, you know what I mean? Like that I have that much emotion and like feelings. People are like, you're okay, you're strong, you got it. And Emily's just like, you have no idea. She's holding on by a thread here.
Yeah, like I know her, and I know what's actually going on right now. Yeah.
You're also, what, are you 5 years out of that relationship?
6 now, I think.
Okay. Because I think I'm almost 15 years out from my mom.
Okay.
So there's like levels of healing that you go through. Like I started off super angry after I left my mom, like throwing things, refusing to go to school when I was 12, being like a horrible kid. And then slowly as I've healed, like I've changed where I'm not as much on guard. But when stakes come up and I actually start liking you, then I'm like, okay, how do I trust them and actually let them in deeper instead of just showing them the base layer of vulnerability?
Yeah.
That's where I struggle now.
Yeah. And it's like something that your nervous system takes over, I feel sometimes, like, especially when you're like really connect with somebody. And it's similar emotions, I think, because it's like, obviously you had that bond and that love with your mom, and that like, it's your mom, you know, when you have that bond with your ex-partner, you were in love. Yeah. So I think the reason why like the bad side or the nerves or like the defense mechanisms come out is because the same emotion got triggered. Like then you meet somebody that you really like, and you're like, oh, that good feeling is the same good feeling I felt with that person.
And that's not actually safe.
Right.
Like if you feel at home with somebody and you were abused, maybe you shouldn't be with that person because your home is not actually safe. Yeah. So like that spark I felt with like my ex that ended up being super toxic. If I feel that with somebody, I'm like, oh, maybe this isn't the right person for me.
It registers as bad.
Yeah.
And to stay away. And it's like human design. And then it's like about like retraining yourself. Yeah. And creating that safe space in you, which sounds like such like Target throw pillow bullshit.
So gay.
It's so true though. Like,
it's so gay.
Even this weekend, like at the comedy festival, there was little things where I felt like insecure or dumb or like in my head or these people don't like me. And I literally had to sit with myself. I left Side Splitters, sat in my car for 10 minutes because I was going through it. Yeah. And about to cry because I was just like so embarrassed about my bad introduction. Yeah. And I had to be like, hey, people like you here, like you are valuable. This one interaction is not the end of the world.
You have not done anything wrong.
You didn't do anything wrong. Yeah. You fucked up. Own that you fucked up. They'll appreciate you and get to know you. And if they don't, then that's not a part of your story. And I had to like literally retrain my spiral I was going down because I was spiraling. Yeah. And that's doing the work, and a lot of people don't do that. It's like, how do you work on that? It's like you literally have to sit there and be like, no, you have to be a therapist to yourself.
Yeah, that's healing, honestly. And it's like not linear, and you kind of realize, like, especially when it comes to dating specifically, that's just like the most common example. Like you can think you're healed from a distance, and then I mean, you guys know Peacock situation better than anybody does. And like, it's like, I thought I was doing so good. I was like so deep in therapy. This was somebody that I was dating and really, really liked. Last person I really liked this time last year. And I thought I was good, super solid foundation. I was in therapy. I was doing everything. But like, that's not actually you're not putting yourself out there and actually testing all of the work that you put yourself
you
through.
literally I remember I had healed when I first started healing at my spiritual awakening. I cut everyone off and I was like, wow, Emily, I'm healed. Like I've meditated. I'm not having these crazy spikes in anxiety or getting triggered by things. And I've worked on it. And I was like, oh, are you healed or are you just not allowing yourself to be triggered? And I was removing the triggers, so I was never being triggered. That's why everything was like la la.
I feel great.
Yeah,
and then amazing.
And then I start going out into the real world, and now I have to apply it. That's the second part, is like applying it. And I was like, oh, you're actually still not good.
Right.
Like you have a lot of work to do.
Yeah. And that's when you actually learn, and it's okay also too to like fail within the context of those things. Like start dating somebody new and it's going well, and maybe you have a moment where like one of your triggers slips out, and it doesn't mean you're a complete failure and a piece of shit and you're going to be broken forever. You're literally applying your lessons and like applying your life. You
know what's interesting is like they say all things in moderation, like
including
even
moderation.
Too much therapy, too much withdrawing, like too much celibacy and not dating people can also be a negative thing and detract from your healing, because you're not putting yourself in those situations to get triggered and to work through that shit. So when I was celibate for 2 years, like Jaime, I was like, oh, I'm good. Like I'm in therapy, I'm doing great, but I wasn't putting myself out there. I wasn't allowing anybody into my circle. So, and then when I started dating and fucking people, I was like, oh, there's a lot going on behind closed doors.
Right. And you would never know that if you're not putting yourself out there, but that's actually where the real work you can process. So true. You can, to make it like a stand-up comedy metaphor, like you can stay in your apartment and tell your jokes to your mirror and it can feel great. And you feel safe and you're like, I'm reciting it perfectly and I hit every line and every tag, but you actually don't know or grow until you get in front of 200 people and you fucking bomb your dick off. And you're like, instead of immediately going towards like identifying as I shouldn't be a comedian or I'm not worthy of love or I'll never be fixed, just walk it back a little and be like, no, I'm working on it.
I tried.
This is working on it.
I just spit everywhere.
Because life's not meant to be lived like passively.
It's so hard going from like big stages to like a smaller stage, or then you bomb, or it's like a different vibe. Like last night I did okay. But it was not. They were like, how do you think you did? And I'm like, oh, don't ask me that question. But I felt really shitty about it because I'm trying not to drink or smoke before I get on stage now, so that I'm sharper. Is that a New
Year's resolution?
Yeah, but and I haven't been drinking before I get on stage, which has been great, and I'm like more sharp. But the anxiety, like I feel like almost like I drank too much coffee, and you feel it through your body. So I'm on stage and I'm shaking, holding the mic. Everyone's like, "You seem so confident up there." I'm like, my body. The reason I take 2 hits before I get up is so my body calms down and I can sit and be myself. And like normal, but I'm trying to not use that as a crutch. So I'm noticing that I'm like developed, and now I have to like take stand up from a whole different thing. Like, was I not noticing that was happening already with my jokes because I'm high or I had a drink or two? Do you know what I mean? And
I mean, I think that's a great goal. Like even you were saying, like everything in moderation. Sometimes even like including moderate, like it's not that you're never going to drink again before you get on stage. You just want to like change your relationship with it.
Exactly.
Like, you just want to feel like in a dating context, you made me think of something like I used to be like, I want a relationship or I don't want a relationship, or I want this or I'm looking for that. And I literally like a resolution, I guess, not that even matters for this year, is like, I just want like a chance at a meaningful connection again. Just to apply everything I learned in the last year.
I'm not even getting the chances though. People are like, you must have dudes swooning over you. I'm like, my DMs are empty.
Yeah, so are mine.
Same.
So are mine. And then they post a thirst trap, and I'm like, none of the guys I wanted to like it liked it. Great.
Yeah, and all the hot guys, they'll come up to me and they'll be like, oh, you must have all these guys, and like, so I can tell that they're not hitting on me because they think there's a line. I'm like, there's no line. Actually, the store's empty. We just opened for business. I cut the red ribbon. Like, you're first in line. Do you want to? You can take anything for free.
Like they expect my DMs to be like Black Friday sales. I'm like, no. This is like an out of business store, like liquidation sale. Okay.
Everything
It's
must
empty
go.
in there.
Everything must go.
They took everything.
You're like, have
and
you
a
ever seen
bag
a
of
store
chips.
right before it's about to close?
Yeah.
The remaining items on the shelf are not good. Nobody wants that.
That's my pussy.
Okay.
They're like, everything's kind of dusty. Like,
Yeah, you're thinking it's going to be a crock pot. You're like, no, it's a broken Rubik's Cube. That's about all I have.
Try to
on the
put it
shelf.
together. Watch how it goes.
Yeah. And it's like, I was just reading an article about this too. And we talked about it on like my radio show, like how nobody's really dating. And I know that's like a recurring thing in a conversation, but like as 3 women in their late 20s, early 30s, you're mid 20s, right? Yeah.
about to turn 30.
I would never guess
I'm
that,
going to be
by the way.
30 probably by the time this comes out.
How old are you, Em?
I'm turning 26 in June.
You're so like way ahead of your time.
Oh, you're sweet.
Trauma.
I feel like I'm so behind my time.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
I feel simultaneously old, but also very young at the same time. And I'm like, I'm not where I need to be or where I want to be.
No one is.
I know. And that's like a,
When we walk
you
out
just
of
have to
will be.
accept it.
Like,
you never will be.
We also have
No.
to give ourselves the credit. Like this weekend, I was like, I deserve to be here. I've earned it. People know us because we've put the work in and the effort in our podcast, and those nights that no one saw where we were scrambling and we were worried. That includes healing. Like I walk around, I see how everyone's a mess.
Yeah.
Everyone is a mess.
No
and
one
I'm
knows
like, we're
what they're
doing
doing.
really
and everybody's
good for
a
ourselves.
kid. Everybody's a kid on the inside. And you see people, like, I was standing at the comedy shows at the festivals and I was looking around at the comics and I was like, we are literally the Sims game. Like, everybody's just wandering around trying to make friends. Like, you want to yoo-hoo with me? And I'm like, no, bro.
You see a positive interaction and you can literally see the ding like go off, and like if you're in a bad mood, you're like, oh, my levels must be low.
Yes.
Like I haven't eaten or showered or whatever.
Like, you see the stinky fumes coming off me. I'm like,
Yes.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, or you can tell an interaction like what you said in the green room where the girl was like, hi. Like, and you can say boink. Like
Yeah, it's like your friendship goes -4. I'm just in the corner going,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's but you're right, like it's never, that feeling never goes away, because I felt that at 26 and I'm 32, almost 33 in a couple of weeks, and I'm both like so proud of like what I am and where I'm at, and also like, fuck, I want that already. Fuck, I want that already. And it's like, you better get comfortable feeling that way, I guess, Brittany, because you're only going to continue to do this, especially this career and this life, and you're probably always going to have a restlessness to you. I don't think it's ever going to go away.
no.
Well, that's fun. I can't wait for my 30s.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for my 30s. I feel like
You're
it'll
not
be
30
like-
yet?
No, I'm turning 30 at February 17th.
Oh my God, you're going to feel so relieved.
Yeah.
I was mentally 30 at like 27, 28. And trauma ages, I say that jokingly, but like
It
trauma
does.
ages you.
And healing ages you backwards.
Yeah.
It like de-ages you.
Yes.
Like everyone's like, you look so young. Like people think I look younger now than when I was 25 and like a mess, because you could see it on my face. People were like, oh, you must be 33, and I'm like, I'm 24 years old.
I'm 24. I just have a bunch of people in my life trying to hurt me, and everything's bringing me down. Yeah. Yeah.
And then everyone's like, what do you do? You look so good. You lost weight. And I'm like, yo, I meditate. Like that's the answer.
I'm making
I
better
decrease my
choices.
stress.
Can we stop asking people if they've lost weight? Like being like, oh, you look so good now. Like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, you
I
look
hate
bad.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. And attaching looking good to weight.
Yeah.
Yeah. That it's look healthy.
Because,
However
bitch,
that
I
is, look
liked you when
healthy.
you were fat.
See, the last time I
Yeah.
lost weight, and someone was like, oh, have you been doing drugs? And I'm like, I actually had got a gym membership.
Yeah, like, like I'm actually taking care of myself.
I'm high on life right now, bro.
Oh my
Can you
gosh.
tell?
I was just talking about that. Like I had a moment at like my job too that I had to put my foot down as PSA. Stop asking people. Stop talking about weight. Stop equating weight to looking good. That goes for also, I only have the experience of being on the petite and skinnier side. That also goes for like picking on people who are thin.
Yeah.
Too. People could have eating disorders, metabolism disorders, be totally happy with their body, maybe trying to get fit and their weight is fluctuating. And like also fucking stop picking on people's height. Like I'm sick of it. And like when
You
people
get bullied for your height?
people don't realize how rude it is to be like, how tall are you? God, I thought you were a child. Wow, you're so small. It happens. So, look at Emily's face. It happens so often. Like so often. And like you can't wrap your head around like a smaller adult. Like it's height. It's genetic. I couldn't like do anything about it. And I just put my foot down on, they're not going to watch. And even if they do, whatever, I addressed it. But I put my foot down because I've had 2 experiences with things about my body in a work context, and I don't want that to be the butt of the joke anymore. So something got brought up in my job about like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if Brittany like got in front of the bounce house and did something, and then like somebody else was like, oh yeah, my 12-year-old daughter loves that bounce house, that would be funny. And I was like, you mean like a bounce house for children? And then like somebody at my job was like, well, you are a child, right? And I immediately like, I was like, it's not gonna like make my confidence plummet when somebody picks on my height or compares me to a child or how petite I am or whatever. But also, I'm not going to stand for it anymore.
It doesn't feel good.
It doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm a small adult woman. And like, if you can't wrap your fucking head around that, you're the ignorant one. And like, I had to put my foot down at work. And I was like, I'm not doing anything with the bounce house. I'm 33 years old. Like, that's it.
But also, who doesn't fucking love bounce houses? Like,
that.
why can't that be for adults too?
Right. And it was ruined when it was like, oh, my 12-year-old daughter loves it. And I was like, great, I'm 33. And like, if the whole reason why you would assign the bounce house to me is because I'm the shortest person on the staff and like the whole thing.
Yeah, you're like not funny. The joke's not.
Nah. Like, I'm a professional comedian. I pay my own bills. I'm a fucking like, I'm not going to be, people will allow those things to discredit you, essentially.
Yeah.
Your, body image and stuff. And it's like, are your boobs out too much? Are they not out enough? Are they too big? Are they too small? And it's like, we have to stop.
Yeah.
I get like called a whore when I have my tits out. And then when I have my tits away, they're like, where are your tits? I'm like, what the fuck do you want me to do?
Expecting them tonight? Like, what the fuck? Like, what are you even talking about?
Like, they arrive in the room before me. So like, they're already there. Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's where sexuality is such like a double-edged sword. Like, you can see that people respond differently to you when you are more put together. You attract more. There's a little bit of a different respect. You can kind of like command a room more, but it's such a fine line between like that working for you or working against you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super fun.
Super, super fun.
Back to insecure men.
Perfect pivot. Perfect segue. But yeah, so I put my foot down with that. I don't want to talk about, I had a company I worked for in Miami. It's an Instagram page. You guys know it. It's very popular. And it was a plastic surgery client. And I'm down to like, I've done the work to love the size of my boobs. I've done the work to do it. Like, and I actually thought about getting my boobs done, and I've been like, I feel like I would be letting little Brittany down if I did that. Like,
you have great tits.
Thank you. I like them. Yeah. And also like the times that like I feel weird about them, I'm able to work through it.
Yep.
And just like amp myself up in another way or like kind of squash that thought. So I do feel like if I did get them done, I'd like eliminate all of that work. But it was a company and a plastic surgery client. And like I said, I can make those jokes about myself. But then on the call, we were making sketches to promote the client. On this call, this work call, they were like, oh, by the way, Brittany, they're going to offer you like free breast augmentation so you can get your tits done. And it was like assumed that I wanted that. And I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, whatever. And then it got brought up again. And they were like, yeah, so that's on the table, Britt. Like, whenever you're ready.
Can you send him my number?
I know.
Yeah, right? And I was like, what the fuck is going on? They were like, yeah, Britt, we hear that you have a great ass, but like you might want to get your boobs done. I was like, who said I wanted to get my boobs done? This needs to be dropped like now.
Like, if I don't bring it up, you shouldn't be discussing it
at all. It was insane. And I was like, well, had my first Hollywood gig and had my breast size, had my first entertainment job question my boob size, basically. I was like,
boy,
check that one off the list. So,
yeah.
Okay. Well, this has been amazing. We can go on forever. How much time do we have left? We're at 45.
Oh,
great.
Fuck yeah.
Perfect timing.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for being.
This was fun.
This was amazing. Was this big yikes enough for you?
This is pretty big yikes.
Okay.
It's a lot of big yikes that we deal with every day, and
yeah. What's the time you embarrass? Okay, let's close with this. Have you embarrassed yourself recently?
Yeah.
Yeah, that introduction to Jeff Dye, where I was like, "You're Randy's friend," because I was too high.
Why is that so embarrassing?
Because it was just like, I'm really good at networking and meeting people, and I was in sales and just like, hi, dumb Jaime, just like I kind of like embarrassed myself in a group of people with like a really shitty introduction, and I I internalized it so hard. Yeah, and I like couldn't get over how I internalized it. And the people around me also kind of wanted to be like, yeah, that was bad of you, Jaime. And I was like, I feel horrible.
Oh, well, fuck them and their stupid high horse.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. But at least you processed it. Yeah. Survived. Yeah. What about you,
My biggest yikes.
recently?
Oh, God. Any
Outside
man
of
I've
fucking
dated.
a DJ.
Outside of fucking a DJ,
Yeah.
I think that was a pretty big yikes.
Okay.
I'm still doing it, though.
Yeah.
I hooked up with an ex.
Oh.
I sucked his dick and ate his ass.
I love that I
Nice.
said to Jaime, did you guys hook up? And she goes, no, I just sucked his dick and ate his ass. And I was like, 2024, everybody, where it's like, we did not fuck. We did not fuck. I did eat his ass, but we
I was
didn't
giving
fuck.
him a
Oh,
rusty
wait.
trombone, and he loved that shit.
What's a rusty trombone?
Oh.
You eat their ass and you jerk them off. Like, you eat their ass from
yeah.
behind, then you jerk them off in the front.
That's my move.
But I was kind of underneath. Actually, I was jerking them off in the front, and I don't know why I went that way, but, you know.
You were at his taint?
That's a whole, taint.
Oh, I
To
was
make-
in
to
there.
make
I
this
was
come
in there.
full-
Just-
Wait, I think my biggest yikes. I was sleeping over a guy's house, and I woke up the next morning after like so much sex. And I was like, oh, like super cuddly with him, like love you. And he goes, you know what you did last night? I get out of bed. I start running around. Like I have the zoomies. I'm like, don't tell me.
You have the zoomies like a cat?
Yeah, no, literally. I was like leaping off walls, like doing parkour. Yeah. I get back in bed, go under the covers. I'm like, okay, tell me. And he goes, you farted in your sleep and scared yourself awake 3 times last night. I was like, no, I did not.
Oh my God, that's fucking phenomenal, though.
It's not the first time that's happened with
Emily
a man.
texted me on a plane one time. and
Jamie was sitting in front of me, and I'm like, did you smell that?
And she literally goes, I just farted myself awake like 4 times on the plane.
I feel like that's a good thing, though. Like, if I toot myself awake, it means even my sphincter feels safe with you.
That is, I mean, I did think that when you said that story. I was like, your body was...
You're safe. You're
You
comfortable.
were safe.
Nice and loose.
And comfortable. See, this is why I love like women that are, they would call us in touch with our masculine energy, but
They
I
would.
love like gross, silly. This is like, that's how I know that's when
When I like you and we're comfortable and stuff.
Yeah.
and how he'll be the one when I'm like, oh, I guess I just farted in front of you or did something disgusting or had a breakdown. And
Yeah.
and it like, I didn't even have to overthink it. Just all these sides of me just kind of came out. And then like I turn around and he's still there. I'm like, oh, he's it.
Yeah.
Might as well
Yep.
propose now. This is
Yep.
it. Yeah. Well, I love the 3 of you.
This
We
is
love
amazing.
you.
The 3 of us, my other personality, too.
I'm running on 3 hours of sleep. I'm like, I swore I was like, I'm going to have more work-life balance. And now here I am falling apart. My big yikes was that my period came a week early today. And it's all the way through my... Anyways, okay. Fellas, Brittany Brave in the DMs if you want to see it. No. Follow 2 Girls, 1 Blunt. Phenomenal podcast.
Thank
The
you.
Jamie Lee Show.
And you don't need to smoke weed. I don't smoke weed. I get weird when I smoke weed. I think you guys...
We've made you smoke weed though.
You
with us.
maybe, yeah. Yeah.
I feel like I get weird sober.
Me too.
Well,
That's why I'm trying to work on it.
I didn't say alcohol. I need alcohol in social settings. Follow Jamie, follow Emily. Subscribe. Tell a friend about this podcast.
We love you.
Be safe. Don't spit in anyone's
Mwah.
mouth or do it if you trust that person. Love you. Big yikes. Bye.
Yikes.